Okay, Jesus said in Matthew 5:19, do and teach God's law. This is God's law number 23, capital punishment via stoning. Hello everybody, I'm Jim McCotter. Welcome. Here is God's law number 23 from God's law book of Deuteronomy in Deuteronomy 17 verses 5 through 7. Quote, take the man or woman who has done this evil deed to your city gate and stone that person to death. On the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, a person is to be put to death, but no one is to be put to death on the testimony of only one witness. The hands of the witnesses must be the first in putting that person to death, and then the hands of all the people. You must purge the evil from among you. End quote. God's law described the manner of performing capital punishment. Stoning was the primary way. Of course, during that time, they didn't have the electric chair or many other ways as today. However, according to the data from the Death Penalty Information Center, DPIC, there have been 277 botched executions in the United States using various methods. This number is based on executions conducted since 1890. Here's a breakdown by execution method. Hanging, 85 botched executions out of 2,721 total executions, equaling 3.12% botched rate. Electrocution, 84 botched executions out of 4,300 total executions, 1.92% botched rate. Lethal gas, 32 botched executions out of 539 total executions, over 5% botched rate. Lethal injection, 76 botched executions out of 1,000 total executions, over 7% botched rate. Firing squad, 0 botched executions out of 160 total executions, 0 botched rate. The firing squad has had a perfect record. I might add here, there was one other biblical death penalty method, Exodus 19:13, quote, they are to be stoned or shot with arrows, end quote. The death penalty with arrows would not be too much different than a firing squad, which was never botched. Also, one thing about stoning, it too would never be botched. Therefore, biblical stoning would also be one of the most humane methods. The problem is Satan has blinded us to only think of stoning today in reference to barbaric Muslims. Yes, and what the Muslims do is barbaric and grotesque. Their stoning is hideous and unbiblical for 2 main reasons. Number 1, the Muslim crime law is grossly unjust. Their crime laws against women compared to men are unjust, unbiblical, ungodly, and demonic. Number 2, Muslim stoning method is inhumane, slow torture, grotesque, unbiblical, and demonic. I have seen this on video and I will never forget it. They buried the woman where she could not move and only the top part of her body showing. Then the demonic men began to throw very small stones at her that would not knock her out or kill her, but only injure her, cut her, and torture her until she slowly bled to death. Of course, Satan wants to turn good people away from capital punishment for capital crime, and this is one way he does it. But biblical capital punishment is always just, and biblical stoning one of the most humane methods. One big stone to the head could kill or at least immediately knock a person out. Many others, all throwing at the same time, would make instant death likely or as fast or faster than the botched methods of today. But biblical stoning was preferred for other reasons as well. Number 1, it could easily be fulfilled any time in history by everyone in every place on earth. Number 2, everyone could participate in open execution. This was good to strengthen everyone's resolve in obeying God's just and holy law and showing support for it by helping carry it out. Number 3, witnesses would throw the first stones. There was a lot of wisdom and benefit for the witnesses throwing the first stones. But regarding witnesses, number 1, no one could be put to death with only one witness. There had to be at least 2 or 3 witnesses. Number 2, also there did not need to be any more evidence than only 2 or 3 witnesses according to God. Think how that would simplify verdicts. And one of God's laws virtually guarantees there would be no false witnesses. Deuteronomy 19:16 through 21. And I read, if a malicious witness comes forward and accuses someone of a crime, then both the accuser and accused must appear before the Lord by coming to the priest and judges in office at that time. The judges must investigate the case thoroughly. If the accuser has brought false charges against his fellow Israelite, you must impose on the accuser the sentence he intended for the other person. In this way, you will purge such evil from among you. Then the rest of the people will hear about it and be afraid to do such an evil thing. You must show no pity for the guilty. Your rule should be life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. End quote. Solomon also confirmed the same thing in Proverbs 19:9, quote, a false witness will not go unpunished, and whoever pours out lies will perish. End quote. Finally, remember, God's law for capital punishment, instituted in the Old Testament, was also reaffirmed in the New Testament by Jesus in Matthew 15 and Mark 7, and by the Apostle Paul in Romans 1 and chapter 13. God said of his Son Jesus in Hebrews 1:9, quote, you love justice and hate evil. Therefore, O God, your God has anointed you, pouring out the oil of joy on you more than anyone else. End quote. Solomon said in Proverbs 21:15, justice is a joy to the godly, but it terrifies evildoers. End quote. To not love justice is to love the wicked and hate the innocent.